You're sitting on your porch tonight. The sun just dropped behind the tree line. And within 90 seconds, the first mosquito finds your ankle. Then another lands on your neck. You slap. You miss. You reach for that spray you bought at the hardware store last week, the one that promised protection for the whole family. It burns your eyes. It stinks up your clothes. And by tomorrow morning, the mosquitoes are back anyway. Now imagine this instead. A simple wooden frame, an old box fan you already own, a piece of window screen from the shed. Total cost, if you already have the fan, is under $7. And by sunrise, that thing can catch hundreds, sometimes thousands, of mosquitoes in a single night. No chemicals, no propane tank, no expensive machine from the big box store. The first time I saw one of these running on a farm, I stood there for a full 10 minutes just watching the screen fill up. The old farmer who built it grinned at me and said something like, "The fancy traps cost $400 and work worse than this." He wasn't wrong. This kind of trap has been used quietly in rural and plain communities for generations, passed down the same way a lot of practical low-tech household fixes get passed down. Not through a manual, but through someone showing someone else who shows someone else. It works whether your house was built last year or 80 years ago, and by the end of this, you'll know exactly how to build one tonight. The physics behind this trap is genuinely simple. Mosquitoes are weak flyers. Their top airspeed is somewhere around 1 to 1.5 miles per hour. A 20-inch box fan on medium moves air far faster than that. So when a mosquito wanders into the airflow, it can't fight its way back out. It gets pulled toward the intake, pressed against the mesh on the back, and it dies there from exhaustion and dehydration over the following hours. No zapping, no poison. Just moving air and a piece of screen doing what a spider web does, only faster and on a bigger scale. A 20-inch box fan, any brand. Cheaper is fine. A used one from a yard sale works just as well as new. A piece of fine mesh window screen, big enough to cover the whole back of the fan with a couple inches of overhang on each side. Standard fiberglass window screen mesh works fine. Bungee cords, zip ties, or heavy-duty clips to hold the screen against the back of the fan. That's the entire basic version. Mount the fan somewhere near where the mosquitoes are coming from, a low, wet corner of the yard, near standing water along a tree line. The intake side, the back of the fan, faces the mosquito source. The screen goes on the back. Turn it on at dusk, leave it running until morning. A lot of people who try this and get disappointed have made one simple mistake. They set the fan up facing outward, blowing away from where they sit. That's backwards. You want the airflow between you and wherever the mosquitoes are breeding, intercepting them on their way toward you, not chasing them away from your porch and leaving your yard untouched. This works on a farm, a suburban lot, a townhouse patio, even an apartment balcony. If you've got a covered porch, that's often the ideal spot. Mount the fan facing out toward the yard, so it catches mosquitoes as they travel up from the grass toward the house. No porch, a picnic table, a workbench, an upturned crate all work. Aim for a height of roughly 2 to 4 feet off the ground. That's the general zone mosquitoes cruise through when they're hunting for a blood meal. Much lower or much higher, and you'll catch noticeably fewer. Here's where a plain box fan trap turns into a serious mosquito trap, adding an attractant underneath it. Mosquitoes hunt primarily by tracking carbon dioxide, body heat, and dark shapes from a distance, then closing in on skin odor once they're close. You can mimic that cheaply. Underneath the fan, on the intake side, place a shallow, dark, open container. A black plastic tub or an old bowl works fine. Inside, mix 1 cup. Warm water, 1.4 cup brown sugar. About 1/4 teaspoon active dry yeast. The yeast feeds on the sugar and releases carbon dioxide as it ferments. The same gas mosquitoes track when they're hunting a target. You're essentially advertising a warm-blooded animal to every mosquito in range. A small scrap of dark cloth draped near, but not blocking. The intake adds a visual cue too, since mosquitoes are drawn to dark, mammal-sized shapes as they close in. So you end up with 3 layers working together. Smell drawing them from a distance, a dark shape drawing them visually as they approach, and airflow doing the actual capturing once they arrive. The sugar yeast mixture will actively produce CO2 for roughly 1 to 2 weeks, depending on temperature. Faster and shorter lived in hot weather, slower and longer lived in cooler weather. Refresh it every week to 10 days through the height of mosquito season, which for most of the country runs roughly May through September and closer to year-round in warmer climates. Empty the screen each morning, knock or brush the dead mosquitoes off into the trash or compost pile, reset the bait, and put the trap back into position for the next night. One quiet advantage of this method over sprays: the mosquitoes caught on the screen die dry from dehydration rather than being poisoned and falling into the grass and soil, where residues from repeated chemical treatments can build up over years and affect earthworms, pollinators, and other beneficial insects along with the mosquitoes. None of this means a fan trap will outperform every chemical method in every situation, or that commercial repellents and treatments don't have their place, especially in areas with serious mosquito-borne disease risk, where more aggressive control may genuinely be necessary. But for an ordinary backyard or porch, a homemade trap like this is a legitimate, low-cost, low-chemical option that's been used successfully for decades, and it costs a fraction of what most people spend on sprays, candles, and zappers over a season. Picture yourself 2 weeks from now. It's a warm evening, the sun is setting. You're on your porch, and you're not slapping at your neck every 30 seconds, not covered in something that smells like a gas station. You're just sitting there, watching the light fade while an ugly wooden and wire contraption quietly does its job. That's really all this is. An old, simple idea that still works, built from things you probably already have sitting in your garage.